Have you ever wondered what truly makes a narcissist miserable? What are the things they absolutely cannot stand, no matter how much they try to hide it? Today, you're about to discover the truth that most people never tell you. This isn't just about fighting back. It's about understanding the deep fears that narcissists desperately try to keep hidden. Once you know these secrets, you won't just protect yourself, you'll take back your power in ways they never saw coming. Stay with me till the end, because every point we uncover is a step toward your freedom, and a step that drives the narcissist further into the misery they tried to put on you. The one thing a narcissist cannot stand is being starved of your reaction. To them, your emotional response is like fuel. It feeds their ego. It validates their sense of power. And it reassures them that they are important enough to control how you feel. Every time you get angry, every time you cry, even every time you raise your voice in frustration, it tells them that they matter, that they have an impact. So, if you want to make a narcissist truly miserable, the most powerful thing you can do is simple. Give them absolutely no reaction. It may sound easy, but when you've been entangled with a narcissist, mastering this skill becomes an act of pure strength. They know exactly how to push your buttons. They've studied you, learned your triggers, and they'll use every weapon in their arsenal to provoke you. They want you to break. They want you to explode, to plead, to defend yourself, to argue. Because any emotional eruption means they still hold the strings to your inner world. But when you refuse to give them that satisfaction, it shakes them to their core. Imagine a narcissist throwing out insults, trying to bait you, trying to shame you, and you just remain calm. Not fake calm, but truly indifferent. It's not about acting like you're unaffected while secretly raging inside. It's about genuinely detaching your worth, your peace, and your emotions from their actions. When you reach this level of emotional control, it sends them into a silent panic. They can't understand why their old tricks aren't working. They feel invisible, insignificant. And that, to a narcissist, is unbearable. You see, narcissists don't thrive in peaceful, healthy dynamics. They thrive in chaos. They thrive when they know they can stir you up at will. When you deny them that chaos, they start to lose their sense of control, and it terrifies them. Your lack of reaction exposes the truth they are desperate to avoid. They are not as powerful as they think they are. Without your emotional energy, they are nothing more than noise in the background, irrelevant and easily ignored. This doesn't mean they'll give up easily. When you start giving no reaction, they will escalate. They'll try harder. They may say crueler things. They might even create bigger dramas just to force you to respond. Understand this. Escalation is not a sign of their strength. It's a sign of their growing weakness. It's their desperation showing. And if you stay firm, stay silent, stay detached, you strip them of their ability to manipulate you any further. Over time, when a narcissist realizes they can no longer control your emotions, they will experience a deep internal collapse. They feel worthless without an audience, without someone to mirror back their importance. Your silence becomes a mirror reflecting back their own emptiness. And trust me, they can't bear to face it. There is incredible freedom in mastering the art of no reaction. It protects your peace. It rebuilds your self-esteem. And it trains you to value your emotional energy so highly that you refuse to waste it on anyone who doesn't deserve it. The narcissist will hate it. They will suffer because of it. And most importantly, you will rise because of it. Always remember, your peace is your power. And denying a narcissist the ability to steal it is the greatest victory you can ever claim. Narcissists have a deep-seated need to control everything and everyone around them. They believe they are entitled to dictate your actions, thoughts, and emotions. The moment you challenge this control, they begin to feel the instability creeping into their world. One of the most powerful tools you have in making a narcissist miserable is setting firm boundaries and sticking to them, no matter how hard they push or how much they try to manipulate you. The moment you take control of your own life, your own choices, and your own boundaries, you effectively strip them of their ability to manipulate you, and that is something they absolutely cannot tolerate. Boundaries are not just about saying no to something that's uncomfortable. They're about creating a sense of self-respect that a narcissist can't breach. When you establish boundaries, you send a clear message: I am worthy of respect, and I will no longer tolerate being mistreated or controlled. This message in itself is a blow to a narcissist's ego. They thrive on disrespecting others' boundaries because it reinforces their inflated sense of self and power. But when you draw the line, when you stand firm, they can no longer have their way, and it slowly destroys their false sense of superiority. The key to making this effective is consistency. Narcissists will test your boundaries over and over again. It's a game to them, one they believe they can win by breaking you down, by manipulating you into compliance. They'll try to guilt trip you, emotionally blackmail you, or even use charm to get what they want. But if you consistently enforce your boundaries and hold your ground, you take away their tools for manipulation. They begin to realize that their old tricks no longer work. This in turn makes them feel powerless, which is a feeling they cannot stand. The process of enforcing boundaries also means being clear and direct with your expectations. You don't need to justify your boundaries or apologize for them. Narcissists will often try to twist your words or make you feel bad for asserting yourself, but the moment you stand tall and unapologetic, you reclaim your power. This shift from seeking their approval to standing firm in your own worth is one of the most effective ways to weaken a narcissist's control over you. When a narcissist feels like they can no longer manipulate or influence you, they begin to feel small. They may lash out, trying to break you down with even harsher tactics. But here's the truth. Their attempts to push past your boundaries will only expose their weakness. The more they try to control you, the more they show their own vulnerability. They need your reaction, they need your compliance, and when they realize they can't have it, they'll spiral into a frustration that is truly miserable for them to experience. The process of setting boundaries doesn't just protect you, it also exposes the narcissist's true nature. When you stop being afraid to say no to protect your time, energy, and emotions, you force them to face the fact that they cannot control you. They are forced to either respect your boundaries, which goes against their very nature, or they must continue to play games, making themselves more and more miserable in the process. At first, they may try to pretend they don't care. They may even act like your boundaries are irrelevant or that you're being unreasonable. But don't be fooled by their front. Deep down, they are crumbling. Their need to dominate and control every situation is so ingrained in them that when they meet resistance, it shakes their very core. Narcissists thrive in environments where they can get away with disrespecting others. When you no longer tolerate that, you create an environment where they are exposed for what they are, manipulative and weak. By setting and enforcing boundaries, you shift the dynamic of the relationship. The narcissist may attempt to regain control by throwing tantrums, offering false apologies, or playing the victim. But remember, this is all part of their pattern. They don't apologize because they truly regret their actions. They apologize because they want to reassert control. But by continuing to enforce your boundaries, you make it clear that you no longer accept their manipulation. You make it clear that you are not their puppet and they are powerless to make you dance to their tune. The real power in this lies in your ability to remain unwavering in your boundaries. It's not about confrontation. It's about creating a space where their behavior no longer has any hold over you. You're telling them through your actions that they no longer control the narrative of your life. You control your own happiness, your own decisions, and your own peace. In the end, setting boundaries doesn't just protect you, it makes the narcissist's life miserable because it forces them to confront the reality they've been avoiding. They are not as powerful as they want to believe, and they can't control everyone around them. Your strength in enforcing your boundaries is the very thing that will break their hold over you and leave them lost in their own desperation. One of the most effective ways to make a narcissist miserable is by not reacting to their drama. Narcissists thrive on attention. Whether it's positive or negative, they crave a reaction. Your anger, your sadness, your confusion, your attempts to explain yourself. All of it feeds their need to feel important and powerful. When you stop reacting, you take away their supply. You cut off the fuel they need to keep their ego inflated. And nothing frustrates and confuses a narcissist more than being met with silence and indifference. At their core, narcissists believe they must be the center of your world. They push buttons, provoke arguments, and create chaos because it guarantees a reaction. It confirms to them that they matter, that they are in control of your emotions. But imagine what happens when you no longer play into their games. When you stay calm, when you don't raise your voice, when you don't justify, argue, or even try to defend yourself, you become untouchable. They're left flailing, desperately trying to stir a response that no longer comes. Mastering the art of non-reaction is not about suppressing your feelings. It's about protecting your energy and recognizing that not every battle deserves your attention. When you choose silence or calmness over chaos, you're not being passive, you're being powerful. You're sending a clear message that says, I am no longer available for this toxicity. It's a boundary without words, and it's one they can feel deeply. At first, the narcissist will ramp up their behavior. They'll push harder, act crueler, or even fake vulnerability to bait you. They'll do anything to pull you back into the toxic cycle of reaction. But this is where your real strength comes in, staying firm and emotionally detached. It may feel strange because in the past, reacting felt natural, almost expected. But now, every time you choose peace over chaos, you take back a piece of your power. Every time you refuse to engage in their drama, you leave them standing alone in the mess they created. Your lack of reaction forces the narcissist to face a reality they desperately try to avoid. They are not as important or powerful as they think they are. Without your emotional investment, they feel irrelevant. To a narcissist, being irrelevant is one of the worst fates imaginable. They would rather be hated than ignored, because at least hate shows you still care. Indifference, on the other hand, tells them they have no control over you anymore, and that cuts deeper than any words ever could. This doesn't mean you won't feel tempted to react sometimes. Narcissists know exactly how to poke at your deepest wounds, to bring up old pain, to twist the truth in ways that make you want to defend yourself. But remind yourself, reacting gives them exactly what they want. Silence starves them. Calmness disarms them. Even if they try to accuse you of being cold, heartless, or unloving, stand firm. These accusations are designed to provoke guilt and pull you back into the web. Recognize these tactics for what they are: desperate attempts to regain control. Your non-reaction is not cruelty, it's self-respect. It's you refusing to let someone else dictate your emotions or your peace. Over time, when a narcissist sees that no matter what they do, they cannot get a rise out of you, they become miserable. They are forced to sit with their own emotions, something they've spent a lifetime trying to avoid. Without someone to manipulate or control, their carefully crafted image of superiority starts to crumble. They realize they are left with nothing but themselves, and for a narcissist, that's unbearable. By staying calm and refusing to react, you not only protect yourself, but you also expose the truth about the narcissist's weakness. Their power never came from true strength. It came from your reactions. Without them, they are powerless. Without them, they are just another person desperate for attention they no longer receive. And that, more than anything, leaves them utterly miserable. Another powerful way to make a narcissist miserable is by standing firm in your boundaries. Narcissists hate boundaries because they believe they are entitled to full access to your life, your emotions, and your energy. They see you as an extension of themselves, something they can use and manipulate at will. When you set a boundary, a real, firm, unapologetic boundary, you're doing something they despise. You're telling them that they don't have unlimited power over you, and that truth shakes their very foundation. At first, setting boundaries with a narcissist feels like walking into a storm. They will push back hard. They'll call you selfish, unreasonable, cold, or disloyal. They might try to guilt trip you, gaslight you, or even make you question your own sense of right and wrong. Why? Because boundaries threaten the control they thought they had. Boundaries are a direct challenge to their inflated sense of self-importance. In their mind, how dare you say no to them? How dare you place limits on someone as special as they believe themselves to be? But here's the truth. Your boundaries are not up for negotiation. They are a reflection of your self-worth. Every time you say, no, I will not allow you to speak to me that way, or I am not available for toxic conversations, or simply I need space and time to myself, you are reclaiming a piece of your power. You are reminding yourself that you matter. Your feelings matter. Your peace matters. Narcissists are experts at testing limits. They will push and push and push to see if you really mean what you say. They will cross small lines first, then bigger ones, just to watch if you enforce the consequence. That's why consistency is key. A boundary without consistency is just a suggestion. But a boundary backed by action, like walking away from an abusive conversation or cutting off access when disrespected, sends a message they cannot ignore. Over time, as you hold your ground, the narcissist begins to realize that their old tactics no longer work. The tantrums, the guilt trips, the silent treatments, none of it breaks you the way it used to. And that realization drives them crazy. It forces them to confront the fact that they are not as powerful as they once believed. It forces them to see that you are your own person, not an object for their use. One important thing to remember is that setting boundaries is not about punishing the narcissist. It's about protecting yourself. It's about living in a way that honors your emotional health, your dignity, and your peace. Whether the narcissist learns from it or not is irrelevant. Boundaries are for you, and the side effect is that they absolutely make a narcissist miserable. Eventually, some narcissists will escalate when they realize they can't manipulate you anymore. They might try to smear your name, play the victim, or act out in more extreme ways. Let them. Their behavior only exposes their true nature to the world. Stay calm, stay firm, and most importantly, stay grounded in the truth you know. You have the right to protect yourself. You have the right to decide who has access to your mind, your heart, and your time. When you master the art of setting and keeping strong boundaries, you create a life that a narcissist cannot invade. You build a fortress of self-respect around yourself. And that, more than anything, leaves the narcissist standing on the outside, powerless, frustrated, and utterly miserable. Another powerful way to make a narcissist miserable is by refusing to engage in their mind games. Narcissists thrive on drama, confusion, and emotional chaos. They love to pull you into endless arguments where they twist your words, deny your reality, and bait you into reacting. Every time you react emotionally, whether it's anger, sadness, or frustration, they feel a surge of power. To them, your emotional reaction is proof that they still control you. But when you stop playing their game, you cut off their supply, and nothing frustrates a narcissist more. At first, they will work overtime trying to lure you back in. They might poke at your insecurities, bring up old wounds, or even pretend to be sweet just to get a rise out of you. They know your weak spots, and they will target them with precision. But the key here is to maintain what's called the gray rock approach. You become emotionally uninteresting. You stop reacting. You become like a dull, boring rock that gives them nothing to feed on. No matter how outrageous their behavior, you stay calm, collected, and detached. Of course, this is easier said than done, especially when you're dealing with someone who knows exactly how to push your buttons. That's why preparation is everything. Remind yourself that every dramatic outburst, every passive-aggressive comment, every lie they tell is designed for one purpose, to get you to react. And when you see it for what it is, a tactic, not a truth, you start to gain power over it. You stop taking it personally. When a narcissist realizes that their usual tricks aren't working, they start to panic inside. You are breaking the invisible strings they thought they had wrapped around you. Without your emotional energy, they feel empty. They start to lose their grip. They might escalate their behavior for a while, becoming more aggressive, more insulting, more desperate. But if you stay calm and unshakable, they eventually burn out. They get bored. And being ignored or emotionally starved is one of the worst things that can happen to a narcissist. Silence is a language narcissists hate because it denies them the attention and validation they crave. Indifference cuts deeper than anger. When you show them that you no longer care enough to argue, to defend yourself, or even to explain, you take away their favorite weapon. You take away your emotional investment. And without that, they are left floundering, confused, and miserable. Another important part of refusing to engage is setting clear mental boundaries. You must remind yourself that you do not owe them explanations, apologies, or emotional access. You are not responsible for managing their feelings or fixing their chaos. Your job is to protect your peace, even if that means walking away from conversations, refusing to answer baiting texts, or limiting your interactions altogether. Over time, you'll notice something amazing happening. The less you engage, the stronger you become. You stop living in reaction to someone else's manipulations. You start living in response to your own needs, your own goals, your own dreams. And the narcissist, who once took center stage in your life, fades into the background where they belong. Refusing to engage with a narcissist is not just a strategy, it's a reclaiming of your freedom. It's the ultimate act of self-respect. It says, loud and clear, I will not be your toy, your punching bag, or your emotional puppet anymore. And that, more than any angry outburst or revenge plan, is what truly makes a narcissist miserable. Another deeply effective way to make a narcissist miserable is by living your best life without them. Narcissists want you trapped in a cycle of needing their approval, seeking their attention, and defining your worth based on their validation. When you break free from that cycle and start thriving without them, it shakes their entire sense of control. They cannot stand to see you happy, successful, and confident, especially when they are no longer a part of your story. Narcissists operate on the belief that they are the center of your world. They expect you to fall apart without them, to be lost and desperate, to keep chasing their crumbs of affection. When you instead pick yourself up, heal, and start shining, it attacks the core of their delusions. It proves they are not as powerful, special, or irreplaceable as they desperately need to believe. Living your best life doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It's about genuinely investing in yourself, your growth, your peace, your passions. It's about taking all the energy you once spent trying to please them and turning it inward, nurturing your own dreams. When you focus on building a life that is rich in joy, purpose, and authentic relationships, you send a clear message without saying a word. You are not the center of my life. I am. And make no mistake, the narcissist will notice. They may act like they don't care, pretend they're unaffected, or even spread lies about you to others to save face, but deep down they are seething. They hate to see you smiling without them. They hate knowing you are experiencing love, laughter, and success, things they always wanted to control or destroy in you. Every step you take toward your own happiness is a reminder of what they have lost and what they could never truly own. Sometimes the narcissist will try to reinsert themselves into your life when they see you doing well. They might suddenly reach out, pretending to have changed, offering apologies or trying to stir up old emotions. Stay strong. Remember that their motives are not pure. They are not happy to see you thriving. They are threatened by it. They want to pull you back into their web where they can feel superior again. Thriving after a narcissistic relationship takes real work. It means confronting the wounds they left, rebuilding your self-esteem, and learning to trust yourself again. But every step you take is a step away from their influence and a step toward the life you were always meant to live. You begin to realize that you are capable of more strength, more love, and more joy than you ever imagined. The beauty of living your best life is that it doesn't rely on revenge or bitterness. It's not about showing off or trying to make them jealous, even though inevitably it will. It's about choosing yourself, honoring your journey, and refusing to let their cruelty define you. Your happiness becomes the quiet, powerful proof that you won. And nothing makes a narcissist more miserable than knowing you are truly, genuinely free from them. So move forward boldly. Celebrate your victories, big and small. Surround yourself with people who see your worth and lift you higher. Chase your dreams with a heart full of hope, because every moment you spend thriving is a moment the narcissist realizes they no longer have power over you, and that is the sweetest, most lasting kind of justice.